transforming a rat into something simply extraordinary.
There is no way in HE double toothpicks that I am eating a rat. Blech.
His routine is simple. He cleans and processes what he can to sell at the local market, and the rest he takes to one of the shadier border crossings where he can on-sell excess rats into Vietnam. And it's a way of life in this region. They tell me that each village has at least 20 to 30 rat hunters. They rely on income from selling rats, and their families, they depend on it. Is it a big industry in this area? Does everyone catch rats?
He said it's a lot of people in this area that they are catching the rat.
Really, it's sort of like one of the main forms of employment in this area?
Yes.
These rats need to make their way into Vietnam through a rather unscrutinized manner. So our trader next takes us to a small shanty town that straddles the Cambodian-Vietnam border. Alright guys, so we have visited one of these small shanty towns on the Vietnamese-Cambodian border. These act as sort of trading hubs, smuggling hubs, however you want to put it. A town where the rat trade slips through the cracks of legality, moving in the shadows. This is an official border crossing, but most anything goes unnoticed here. It's the kind of place where you can skirt around any customs agent or bypass any annoying regulations on livestock health, safety, and disease control measures. The place has a sleepy, suspicious vibe that you'd kind of expect from a smuggler town. It is very slippery. And it's not long before we come across a rat smuggler. Sorry, I mean a respectable livestock trader. He's a quiet, calculated figure who buys up rats from Cambodian sellers, consolidating them into larger shipments. And his job is to get these rats across the river into Vietnam and all the way to places like An Phu, where they will be processed and sold to Vietnamese restaurants. The volume of rat meat that I've seen arriving daily in An Phu is simply staggering. Apparently this is the best season for rat, maybe not the most volume, but they taste the best, they have the right type of oil within their flesh, something like that, I don't know. But the best tasting rat is right now. His family begins preparing some of the freshly purchased rat for lunch. As much as I'd love to stick around for a bite, I've already got a lunch date planned with some crocodiles. Sale at the local market. And so what does he do with the extra stuff that gets cut out?
Okay. After that, he will sell it to the people feeding the crocodile.
So they feed the rats to the crocodile. This is one weird cycle. Okay, so Mr. Nee has been kind enough to give me this giant bag of rat heads and organs, and we're gonna take it to the crocodile farm. Gardens I have ever seen, just loaded up with absolutely monster crocodiles. But at the same time, it makes almost perfect sense. These crocodile farms exist in a state of symbiosis with the rat trade, which provides easy access to large quantities of incredibly cheap waste meat. The air is thick with the smell of damp earth and raw meat, and as I approach with the rat parts, the crocodiles stir to life. It is kind of insane just how many crocodiles this tiny little Cambodian village house has. The feeding, a wild, almost primal scene. Alright, that was pretty intense. I don't know why I was expecting them to eat in a bit more of a civil manner. That's a joke, don't kill me in the comments. It's a strange, almost surreal experience. Outside the village, it's quiet and unassuming. But here, the energy is raw and untamed. In villages like this, nothing goes to waste, and both industries sustain each other in a way that's as efficient as it is unexpected. Once rat meat makes it into Vietnam, it's mostly destined for An Phu, the epicenter of Vietnam's rat trade. Today, we're processing thousands of kilos, literally tons, of rat and then we're gonna follow it to Saigon and find out what the hell happens to it all. Maybe it gets turned into some kind of mystery meat. Let's check it out. Thousands and thousands of kilos of rat meat moving through the hands of families who call this place home. And as we arrive, it's clear that this is no ordinary day. The village is buzzing with activities. Motorbikes arriving one after another, each loaded with tray upon tray of rat ready for processing. I count 15 cages of rats at one household behind me. To my right, there's maybe another 7 or 8 at this house. A little further down, I don't know. Let's go find out again. Almost every family has converted their space into a rat meat assembly line. Or maybe disassembly line would be more accurate. But everyone knows their role. From the children through to the grandparents, it's a true family affair. Okay, so this entire family behind me is hard at work this morning. They have the standard conveyor belt going. Maybe 4 or 5 giant 50-litre Eskies getting filled up with rats right now. The sheer quantity of rats being handled is staggering, with each family working as a unit to get the job done. If you've ever filleted fish or processed small game before, you'll know just how difficult and tedious the work can be. My last video, a big conveyor belt of rat processing. You can see an in-depth look in my last.
I'm sorry, y'all, but maybe it's a cultural thing. Growing up in the city, the last thing you'd want to eat is a mouse. I guess I'd never say never, but man, I'd have to be freaking starving to death to even think about eating a rat. Ugh.
Video, but here's the general beats. Everybody here is an expert. From the swift blow that stuns the rats, to the removal of the feet, tails and organs, and finally the skinning. The end result is an incredibly uniform product. Each piece of rat meat looking as if it was processed at a professional butcher. A lot of people in my last video theorized that these may in fact be city rats. However, that's pretty stupid. We are deep in the Mekong. We are surrounded by literally hundreds and hundreds of kilometers of rice fields that stretch deep into Cambodia. That is the reason there are so many rats here. That's why they're so plentiful and why the industry is here. City rats are in fact illegal, and if you were trying to catch rats in the city, you'd get arrested, especially if you were trying to catch literally tons of them. I come across just one man who's carved out his own niche in this economy, a bullfrog dealer. Everyone else, they're into rats. These things are delicious, but have you ever seen a giant room of bullfrogs before? It's a sight that's hard to wrap your head around, especially if you're not from around here. It's shocking maybe, but for the people of An Phu, it's just another day in the office. Specifically today though, I'm looking for large rats that are being processed with the skin on, as this is how they're served at Saigon's higher end rat joints. These guys have now finished up pretty quick work. I'd say 15 odd cages of rat meat processed in just a couple of hours. Very impressive. Whenever I mention rat meat, the conversation in the comments quickly turns to comments about is it safe and what are the real risks? And as it turns out, there's actually been studies on this done here in Vietnam. Vietnam's Mekong field rats sold by traders test positive for RNA detection of viruses in the Big C family, if you know what I mean, about 20% of the time. It doesn't sound really great, to be honest, but things get worse. By the time these rats reach the market, they are 2.2 times more likely to test positive, at a rate of 32%. And once these rats make it to the restaurant, the situation has become pretty concerning. A 10-fold increase in the likelihood of infection, with around 55% of rats testing positive. It's not great. The rise highlights the dangers of keeping these animals alive for too long. Other small game, like squirrels and rabbits, they don't carry the same risks. Squirrels show less than 5% positivity, and rabbits even lower at under 1%. Rats are more risky, especially in poorly regulated supply chains. But It does seem to me that things have changed since the times this study was conducted. Rats are no longer transported to the restaurants alive. In the supply chain that I witnessed in Cambodia and Vietnam, rats are now caught and processed within the same day. I imagine that this significantly reduces the risk of viruses spreading. Is it ideal? Well, no. And maybe it kind of justifies the local government's concern about fully endorsing and giving the green light to rat trade. So the legality of rat is a kind of grey zone. City rat is in fact illegal. Wild-caught rat, such as this, is legal, but it's almost impossible for a restaurant to prove where it comes from. Therefore, by the time it hits Saigon, it exists in a kind of grey zone, and restaurants are frequently shut down despite pretty sky-high demand. It is confined to specialty restaurants that are known for it and that know how to navigate the tricky legal status. One such restaurant is Wang Ang Ya Din 41, a Wang Yao drinking restaurant in District 8 of Saigon. This spot is renowned for demanding only the best and largest rats that An Phu has to offer. Here, rat meat isn't just on the menu, it is the star attraction. Everybody is here for the rat and for some beers. It's so popular, in fact, that I see people grabbing rat as takeaway. This is your restaurant?
Yes.
How long have you had it for?
Mở được 7 năm. Ở Sài Gòn thì rất ít quán bán món chuột này. Quán này là một trong những quán đi đầu tiên về món chuột. Chuột của anh là chuột chính gốc từ miền Tây. Quán có thể đảm bảo được việc đó 100%.
And the cooking? It is fascinating. Rats here are roasted in a nung lu, a traditional large ceramic drum roaster that turns the meat a perfect golden brown. In a weird way, it looks really effing good. I'm used to seeing stuff like roast pork, roast duck, Peking style, sort of Cantonese duck cooked like this, and not rats. But I've got to admit, that looks a lot better than what I'm used to seeing in the rice fields. It's the weapon of choice that's transforming a rat into something simply extraordinary. To start out, our rat is splayed out. The rub itself contains Sichuan pepper, salt, cinnamon, and is then generously added to the inside of the body. Finally, the skin is brushed with a mix of butter, honey, and soy sauce. The chef here works with precision, using a hook system to rotate rats in and out of the roaster, ensuring that every part is cooked. The skin, left intact, crisps up with a beautiful golden brown. Occasionally, it's brushed with butter to enhance the color. What's the secret to making good rat? I mean, this seemed like a pretty complex process, to be honest.
Những cái công thức mà mình học được từ những các bậc tiền bối đi trước. Anh cũng từng làm bếp ở ngoài nhà hàng.
Trong vòng 15 phút nó chín rồi. Mà chủ yếu là ăn nhờ cái da nó giòn. Ăn chủ yếu nhờ cái da thôi, chứ chuột mau chín lắm.
It's clear this isn't just about feeding people. It's about showcasing the best of what An Phu has to offer. And dare I say it, it actually looks pretty good. Like mini suckling pigs, they glisten with the sheen of melted fat over the hard crackling.
You know, this video was interesting to me. Just some of the things that I've seen in other cultures and other countries, like for me, and probably most of the people in the United States watching this video, you couldn't pay them to eat a rat. I don't care how crispy it looks or how tasty it is. Just understanding how we view rats in this country, I don't think anybody in this country would eat a rat. I know that I wouldn't. But it's interesting because when you look at a lot of these Asian countries, these Asian people eat a lot of stuff that we wouldn't eat. You know, I've heard stories of cats and dogs and bats and you name it, they'll eat it. So when I saw this video on people eating rats, I was like just trying to keep myself from puking, just a thought, and then just seeing them wrapped up in these little bowls and they're cleaning them, just the thought of eating a rat. I couldn't do it. I'm sorry. Could you guys do it? You know? Anyway, Make sure you like this video if you haven't done so already. Also subscribe to the channel. And as always, I love you guys. And I will check you on the next one. Later.